Hello, this is the Tiffany's Fitness Podcast. I am Tiffany, and today's guest is a badass lifter, a mobility practitioner, and awesome coach, Peter Nieman. He is on Instagram at icebox_kettlebell, and he is also going to be at Belfast with me and a bunch of other coaches the first weekend of September in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you are not doing anything, this is where you should go. It's going to be so freaking awesome, and I hope to see you there. I'll have the tickets linked in the show notes. Enjoy this episode, and I'll check in with you at the end. I feel that I ran today, so
I
I'm
miss
like,
running.
can you not run?
So I've been I mean we can start with that.
Yeah, just go
Uh
for it,
so I'm
Patsy.
so I'm 33 now, and I've been I'm hypermobile. So it's
Yeah.
partial genetic, and I was a dancer growing up, which most people
Mhm.
know by now. So when you're a dancer, you're kind of expected to be just limber and you're always stretching, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I myself have super bendy joints, and a lot of the people I work with, especially my older demographic, they're in the same boat. And
Yeah.
that's why I don't really practice myself or instruct just stretching, like end range stuff. It's
Mhm.
all pretty much FRS stuff now,
Mhm.
which is a lot of tension loading, it's articulation, it's eccentric. There's a whole list of things I can go through. But
Yeah.
um, my so I have
FRS,
finally
FRS is functional range structure.
system
System.
systems.
Cool. Just because
Yeah,
no one else is as FRC is
yeah,
conditioning system. S is a system. Okay, cool. Just
yeah.
because
It's kind of
I
it's
assume
yeah. It's
people listening aren't gonna know what FRS is off the top, like the rest
right,
of
right, right.
us.
Yeah, it's that's kind of an umbrella term because I'm
Mhm.
also a practitioner of the internal strength model, which I
Mhm.
also have been just digging into hard. I've been promoting that in my new like membership that ties into kettlebells too, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But I've run into some knee and some spine issues personally, so I've been just chipping away at it. And part of my identity is lifting big bells. And if you've
Mhm.
been paying attention to what I've been posting lately, it hasn't been real big bells. It's been like I
I
might.
saw you do a 40K bottoms up Turkish get up on my Instagram this morning, so that's pretty big.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that doesn't count. But I guess I'm feeling better. Yeah, that was like an hour ago. But I miss my beast. So I'm just taking some time off of that, and I'm easing back into like I'm living on beach side. I'm living on the beach in Florida now for the time
Yeah.
being, and I'm able to walk like 2 or 3 miles a night now. Walking is just so good. I tell
Mhm.
everyone to walk every day. It does so much for you. So I am getting better. But running, I mean, my knees were banged up for a while because I jumped the gun on a few mobility drills that I thought, oh, I'm still indestructible. I'm still invincible. I can handle it. But turns out you can't. And I'm not some exception. I'm not a superhuman. So it's been a huge
100%.
learning experience. Yeah, working with pain, and I always try to see the positives in everything. And this has taught me to just be more empathetic and sympathetic for people working with pain, because
Mhm.
now I've experienced that, and it's very it can put you in a low spot if you can't
Yeah.
do what you're used to doing. Like I'm on sabbatical from bench press right now. I have not bench pressed in quite some time, just because I'm watching out for the spine. I'm making sure
Yeah.
everything's looking good, and I'm sure we'll talk about this at Belfast. We'll have some time to kind of mess around with that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But when you make lifting a certain way your identity and you can't do it, uh, it's you kind of don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
It's
I'm working
very.
through that. Yeah, I'm working through that.
Yeah.
So
I know. I saw your 40K. You're like, you're saying you're not lifting super heavy weights, but you still are doing heavier weights than most people will ever touch. Because I did a 20K for 30 seconds, and I was like, woo, I did it. And then I like go on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, look at him doing a Turkish get up with the 40K bottoms up. It's the bane of my existence right now.
Well, I'm trying, so.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a lot more bottoms up stuff for wrist strengthening purposes for barbell bent pressing.
Yeah.
So I've been doing I'm doing some sort of bottoms up work a couple times a week right now. I did like a weird mace like bent press hold thing with the mace like on the inside and the outside, and that was really good like wrist work as well.
Like you were trying to hold them together.
Like I was putting it out and I was trying to hold it, like balance it while doing a bent press with the weight out, so that way it was like forcing my wrist to like hold and stabilize it, which was it was interesting. Peter Curtis, he messaged me and was like, you should try this, like I think you'll like it. He's doing it with a sledgehammer, and I was like, I have a mace, let me see. And it was weird because like the bent press itself was like easy because it's 10 pounds, right? But my wrist was fried by the end of the training session. I was doing like barbell get-ups at the end, and I was just like, oh, okay, here we go. It's you're trying to find those weaknesses and build up off of them. And bottoms up presses and bottoms up work is humbling.
Yeah, that's a tough one to sell on people. I mean, I've been doing this a lot more lately. Is we can train your shoulders, we can train your chest, and we can train your core and legs all day. But like, what is something you use for literally everything every day all the time? And people don't really pay attention to their fingers or their wrists or their thumbs or their toes or their arches. And just digging into that stuff, because these are like this is what closes the chain for a lot of lifting. And to overlook that, it's like now you have a weak link, So I definitely know the importance of doing like bottoms up stuff, because it just makes you recalibrate everything you're doing in your lifting. I wanted to keep it a secret, but I want to do a bottoms up. I want to do a bottoms up beast bent press for Belfast. So I'm hoping. I try not to say it too loud so no one hears.
It's just us. It's just us. No one's gonna know. And
10,000 other people.
This is a huge podcast.
Right.
So you're in the clear.
We'll see. Either that or the 40 kilo bottoms up get up. But I'm if I need to take it easy for Belfast, then I have to take it easy. I'm just there for the vibes and meeting everyone, meeting you. There's a ton of coaches I've heard so much about. A lot of them.
I haven't met any of the people going, so it's like I feel like I'm really excited to meet people that I've been like interacting with on the internet for a really long time. What are you teaching at Belfast?
I'm Sunday morning with Sosi. Do you know Sosi?
Yeah.
So I've met and connected with Sosi when I went to Austin, Texas, for like a landmine kind of deal with like Keanu and Adam and Jared, the crazy trainer. And that was one of the best. Oh, and Eric Does Kettlebell was there, Danielle. So I've met maybe like half the people going to this thing. And so Sosi and I, it's going to be like a split thing. We were just discussing this. I think I'll do half an hour of FRS. So I'm going to teach everyone how to do 10-point cars, which is the mainstay in my mobility membership program. Little self boost there. But everyone's going to learn how to use all their joints in full range of motion under tension. And we're going to do some pails and rails. So I'm going to teach everyone how to actually build functional mobility. And that's a bunch of words that probably everyone's heard before, but no one can really define well. So I want to delineate what that actually means and just show people the internal world of training as best I can in the half an hour, 35 minutes I'm allotted. And then
Mhm.
Soci is going to, I'll be joining her. We're going to do some light bell, play, mobility, that kind of stuff. So teach people how to show off and really use their body to the best ability with the lighter stuff.
That's
But
excellent.
yeah, I mean, I can kind of, well, what are you doing?
I'm teaching a sport class. I'm teaching like an intro to kettlebell sport. I don't know exactly how intro it will be. It kind of depends on who's there. Like, I don't think, but I think I'm the only sport person at
Yeah.
Belfast. I think I'm the only like actual like sport athlete. Not that I'm like super like doing a lot of comps right now, but whatever.
Right.
I do, that's mostly what I coach at this point. So I'm gonna do like an intro to kettlebell sport, teach the pendulum, swing, clean, jerk, snatch, depending on where we're at. Might just be
Okay.
a swing and a snatch. Maybe we'll see. Kind of. I'll probably. I think I have a pretty small class. I don't know how. Most people don't want to do a whole lot of sport. It doesn't look like a lot of fun, and we're always complaining about it. So I think I'll have a relatively small class, which will be, I think, really great. Because that way we can kind of like really just dive into what whoever's in my class wants
Yeah.
to like focus on. And also I haven't taught a class in person since before COVID. So
Wow. So you do like mostly one-on-one, or do you
I
program, or?
do, yeah, I do mostly programming, like online programming, just like sending them their workouts every week, and like feedback and watching videos and stuff. And then I do Zoom sessions with people. I haven't coached in person in a hot minute. Just because we moved here to Colorado April 2020. It was
Okay.
just, so like there was no gyms here for me to even apply to at that point. Like it was just it was just like nothing is open. And then by the time that things were open, I had been doing the online thing for the year and a half or whatever, and I didn't really want to have to do what someone else told me to do. Um
That's it.
because if I did coach, it would probably have to be in a club gym, which doesn't really appeal to me because that's not really a coaching job; it's a sales job, and that's not the thing I'm good at. And or I'd have to train on a base gym, and I don't love that either because that means I'm so this is a whole thing. I like met one of the people who I would be like working with or like hiring, and she was not pleasant. So I was
Okay.
like, I don't think I want you to be my boss. And I've been dress coded in the base gym several times. And if that's how they treat people who are just like going to the gym, I have to imagine that it's less fun for people who are working for them. So
I get you there.
base base gyms are weird. It's great because it's free. And the one I'm going to now, because there's like 6 gyms on base, is is great. Like I don't have any issues with the people there. It's like a power lifter type gym basically.
Okay.
Like they've got like stones and stuff, and there's like different ones. So like there's like a CrossFit gym, there's like a club gym, there's like all sorts of different like vibes of gyms here, which is really nice. But this one's like a powerlifting gym, so they don't really care that I'm doing weird shit. And I just sort of like take my stuff to the corner and do what I'm gonna do. Like actually, I was helping one of the like trainers there who started a couple months ago. He was asking me what I do, and we were just chatting, and I showed him how to do a barbell bent press. So like the vibe there is pretty good. I don't think they're gonna like be they're not a problem, but like the general I don't like being dress coded at 30 years old. Like that
I do.
feels insane to me. And I was like, not like I was like wearing anything crazy. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, like doing my lifts, and presumably some old man saw me and was like, that lady is dressed inappropriately and reported me. So,
It's always, yeah, working out by yourself in your home, or, I have a private studio. It's once you
yeah.
get used to it, it's not easy to go back to a box or a public gym or semi-public like you're talking about. So I get it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I like being able to like control my own schedule, and I have a dog who has separation anxiety, so like I would have to figure out stuff for her if I left. So it's like I can just do what I want and she can like literally she's chilling right now. And I don't have to worry about it. Like that's great for me. And I get to work with people all over, like, which is really cool. Like I have clients in Australia, I've worked with people in Chile, like I've worked with people in New Zealand. Like I wouldn't get to do that if I was just in a club gym.
Right.
And I love that I get to work with people all over the place, and that's rad for me. So I don't know
What's
that I could go
right.
back.
What's your favorite way of like client acquisition for your online stuff?
I mean, it's mostly through Instagram, actually. Instagram is my primary one. Reddit sometimes too.
Okay.
I've gotten a few people from Reddit. Um, which is fun. I love Reddit. I think Reddit's great.
Right, it's
Uh,
such a weird place. Yeah. I mean, you're
yeah,
a
it's
Reddit
so
fan.
weird. I
I mean,
I like this. I like the kettlebell subreddit. I think the kettlebell subreddit is like this really excellent little corner of the internet that isn't like I don't know. It feels really nice. Like when I was doing my bent press, working into the 50K bent press, they were some of the biggest fans and supporters. Like I couldn't wait when I did that 50K with a kettlebell. I couldn't wait to go on there and tell them because I knew how excited they were going to be for me, and that was
right.
like really cool to have like that little thing. But now I don't do so much kettlebell bent pressing, so I haven't got to I don't get to post my bent press stuff on there as often. I made like a little subreddit, but I don't actually know how to do that. I made like a unconventional lifting little sub Reddit or
Okay.
whatever. But I don't actually know how to, how to post
Right.
any. I just post and I'm like, I don't know, maybe somebody
Right.
will see it and like it'll be fun and whatever.
Now,
Yeah,
going back
I've
to
done it
your
before.
bench press, so you've done 50 kilos.
Mhm.
That was with a kettlebell and like a magnet, or what was that with
Yeah, I
barbell?
did. I both. So I did kettlebell with a magnet last June. June. It was before I turned 30. I wanted to get it before I turned 30. So I did that I went up to Denver and I did with a kettlebell 48 with two 1 kilo magnets. Or one, yeah, it was magnets on there, so it was 50K. And then like 3 or 4 months ago, I don't remember. I did it with the barbell, on both
Okay.
arms. With both arms on my
Talk
barbell.
talk to me about your favorite between the two. I know there's a lot of difference between, because I use three different modalities, and there's differences between all of them. Now,
What three are you doing?
so I've got barbell,
Mm-hmm.
kettlebell, and this is a 36-inch plate loaded dumbbell.
You have a circus dumbbell type thing,
Pretty
like
much.
where you. Oh, those are so cool.
That's
Um, yeah, I. That's really cool. I've been doing some dumbbell stuff too. So I've gotten 100 with the dumbbell, which
nice.
is not quite 50. I don't know what it is. Um, but I really like. I think I'm enjoying doing the dumbbell stuff. It's interesting. My setup has to be very different. So I haven't quite figured out a setup for that. I don't know, because they are very different lifts. Like
I've actually
I
made like a I've actually made like a whole synopsis of how they're different and what
yeah.
each excels at.
Yeah, I love the kettlebell. Kettlebell is the first one I did. So like the kettlebell will like I mean I love kettlebells obviously. But like it's so like there's like something very like special about that. And but like the wrist pressure was a lot. And also it's so hard to find kettlebells that heavy. Like I don't have access to anything at home heavier than 32. But I had to drive to Denver to get my hands on a 48.
Yeah.
um, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. I love the barbell one though because it feels I feel like I'm connecting to like the old strongman people, which I know sounds probably super goofy, but like it feels like I'm like connecting back to like the like original like lifters of it because that's what they were doing was that or like the circus type dumbbells, and I
You'll
think that's
definitely feel like, yeah, you'll feel like Arthur Saxon when you're
yeah, I
bench
feel like
pressing a
a badass.
barbell. Hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool, and also it's just like easier to get my hands on those weights. I mean, the barbell's significantly tougher to move, but I think uh, it's really. Sorry, my tortoise is trying to kill himself. He's jumping off the top of his his rocks. Uh, but I think it just feels really powerful. I mean, all of the bent presses feel really powerful, but like with a barbell, there's just like something really special about moving and balancing and coordinating that much weight.
Yeah.
And getting it overhead, and you're just like standing there with a bar balanced over your head, and you're like, yeah, I just did that. All right, cool. And that's pretty freaking cool. Um, I would love to try a circus dumbbell though, or like
Mhm.
one of those shorter ones. That's really cool. I like Holly and Aaron. They have one of those too. It looks
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. I worked out with
I
them. Yeah. They came to my gym earlier this
mm,
year. That was really fun. So Aaron and I got to, I mean, Holly is insanely amazing and strong.
mhm.
But, like Aaron and I like loaded up. He did a barbell. I did a kettlebell with like 56 kilo. And it was just, I don't think I've ever, well, no, because then I had Caleb and Jules Watts come to my gym too, and they're like in the 150-pound club, like me.
Mhm. Yeah.
But just bench pressing with other really knowledgeable and skilled athletes in that domain is really really fun.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have
but
a preference between the three or that you have that you work with?
yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. So
Yeah.
here's my rundown for bench press modality is, if you're teaching someone how to do a bench press, you're not going to say, here's a barbell, here's how you do it. So you use a kettlebell. So
Yeah.
kettlebell up to a certain point is the most comfortable, it makes the most sense.
Mhm.
But now, like at a point in my life, and maybe I'll get back to it too, I wanted to do like the 80-kilo bell. Now
Mhm.
I'm like 5'10". I am very average dimensions as
Mhm.
far as like my shoulders and my height. Uh, but uh, I've done the 68-kilo bell, and that is the most size I can handle with as far as like a bell between my ulna and radius. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it feels like a freaking balloon, and it's hanging off your wrist. So
Yeah.
the main, and I did post on my story the other day. I did one attempt at the 80-kilo bell, and it is so unwieldy to just
Mhm.
because at that point you're not really fighting the weight. It's almost like moving furniture. It's
Yeah.
not the weight. It's awkward.
Yeah.
So then I would go to barbell, and barbell is the trickiest. It is like the barbell is kind of like a midpoint in some ways because it's the hardest to balance. But once you get the balance right, it's the easiest all around to maneuver after a certain point. Now, when I went for my all-time PR, I had to do the plate-loaded dumbbell.
Mhm.
Uh, the plate-loaded dumbbell for me is hardest to get in position because you have to like You can't really, you can almost swing
That was
it.
my issue with with when I was doing the dumbbell. Was like I don't know how to set that up. Like like with the kettlebell, I know exactly how to set it up. I know where to like I can do that so easily. With the barbell, it took me several months to figure out my setup for that, but I figured it out. And now I have a very consistent setup with dumbbell. I just don't know. You can't do like I can't do like my kneel and rack. I have to like almost like clean it up, but it doesn't quite rest the same way because it's shorter. It's
Yep.
really weird. It's really weird.
Yep.
But
But I mean, you also have fourth way, which is tying smaller kettlebells to a bigger kettlebell, which I've also done. But that's better for like get ups. So like I did a 68 kilo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that with a 48. When I did my 48, I only had a 30. I had my adjustable, and I have and I strapped the 12K to my, it was however much it was to make it was added up to 48. It was such a mess. It was so awkward and unwieldy. But that's all I could do because the gym was closed for whatever reason, and that was the day I was like mentally in it for it. And
But,
is it better for Turkish get up? How would that be better for
so I'm just saying strapping. I mean, maybe it's the way I did it because I just like duct taped them or zip strapped them. But like I did a 68 kilo get up. Now I can't handle the 68 kilo on my wrist that long. Bench press, yes, because it's maximum 25-second lift. For a get up, you're battling for like a minute. And I just can't balance it that long. So I took a 68 and I strapped 2 6s to the sides to make it balance. So I called it my Franken belt. But I wouldn't bench press that because you try to clean it up and it's like this bell is going over here and this is going over here. And the pieces are flying everywhere. So like for a get up, bells basically stationary. You start down on the floor with it. Nothing's flying around. But for a bench press, you gotta figure out something that's a little more stable. So, but anyway, when I did my PR on bench press a few years ago, that's what I used the plate loaded dumbbell for, and I conveniently cut out the part of the video where I slammed it down on the floor and it all fell apart. So,
that's what we do
people
on
don't
Instagram.
get.
We just trim it.
It's a very curated reality on Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's what I posted this morning because I keep getting comments about my juggling, and people being like, "Well, what about like why isn't it even? How do you stay even?" Like, this is 30 seconds. This is 30 seconds of my whole entire workout. Like you're seeing of like my workouts throughout the week, you're seeing 5 minutes tops of my whole of a 30, 60, 90-minute session depending on the day. You can't make actual judgment calls based off of the 5 minutes of my training that you're seeing, that I am curating for the internet to be entertaining and engaging for content, so people follow me and interact with me and buy programs from me.
Exactly. Now a guy, his Instagram handle is Hunter Fitness. Like he's really, really smart, very, very good mover through the functional range community. And he just made something the other day because he's getting some like criticism on his postings, and people just flame him in the comments like, why are you shaking so much? What's the point of this? And basically he said, if you alter your approach to making comments or watching other people's stuff from a place of criticism to a place of curiosity, you're going to have, a better time on the platform. People, you see the one thing and you're like, oh, that's silly, or how is this doing anything? Where you're seeing a highlight reel. And this is something I personally struggle with for social media, is like, oh wow, like they must be able to do that all the time. And you don't see all the fails, you don't see all the work, the boring stuff to get there. you don't know what they're all about. You're just seeing the one thing they put up. So just kind of having that grain of salt really helps with your perception on social media. So, and it helps with the comparison game, which is deadly,
so deadly. Yeah, it's just, this is it. Like, you're seeing like a window into my training, and also like you're seeing a short window into the training that I am creating for the internet. like like I'm not posting all of the boring shit that I'm doing because nobody cares about that. I've been doing stupid hamstring curls multiple times a week, every week. I'm not filming and posting that every single time because nobody would care. I'm doing bottoms up holds. Nobody wants to watch that. So why would I it's a lot of boring stuff, and it's a lot of doing the same thing in a slightly different variation over and over and over again. It's just not sexy for the internet.
So I've been asked before, like, because not to toot my own horn, but I've gotten a little bit. I mean, I'm not a big account by any means, but I have been able to grow. I think I've doubled my size in the last 12 months. Just figuring out what people will click on and stay for. Like I've watched the metrics, and people usually have an attention span of 7 seconds. So you have to get to the point, and you have to if you're worried about, all right, I did this huge long complex on right, now I have to make it look perfect on left. People have already moved on like 2 videos from there. Yeah. So just figuring out what people are actually looking for. And it's you got to kind of manipulate.
That's why I only post the one side of the juggling, because if I post the other side, they're gone. Why would I do that? Also, I would have to be like looking into the sun, or like I'm doing a flip and it's on the other side, so you can't see the flip that I'm doing. So why would I put that on the internet? It's not fun. It's not entertaining, and people will scroll. And though I do train, and I do a lot of boring stuff, but the stuff I'm posting is in theory trying to be engaging enough for people to interact with, so they stick around and follow, and maybe eventually buy from me.
That's the goal. The net you cast. I think that's from the Bible. Is when they're talking about being fishers. I was raised Christian, not to go down that road, but I know the Bible. And he said, be fishers of men, and you have to have your net be really wide. So you just have to cast it out, and hopefully you get a few fish amongst the boots and the tires and the empty cans of baked beans, But I mean, no one really there's no way to make a barbell hip thrust look cool and interesting. You have to find the cool stuff,
I mean, unless you have really short shorts on, or like leggings going all the way up your butt. And then it's really interesting for a very slim demographic who will never buy anything from you ever. Maybe not for you, but for me.
Well,
they will send you creepy messages, though.
You're surprised at what I get. That's like why I've been wearing more socks lately. So. There's actually
the internet for free.
So there's actually like this whole. I was telling my buddies the other day. There's actually like a whole I usually know when it's gonna happen. Like when a stranger messages me, they're like, "Hey, bro, tell me about your program." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." I start listing off this and this and this. They're like, "Okay, cool." ... By the way, bro. And I'm like, I knew it.
You can always tell. It's always there's accounts that message you and you're like, oh, maybe they're cool. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, me ignore this gut feeling that this is going to be a weird interaction. And then all of a sudden you just get like that message and you're like, damn it.
Like I'd almost rather
it. And I go, oh, look at this weirdo. And he's like, what are you? Okay. He's like, what do you do with those? And I was like, it depends on how
I
There's
get it.
different levels of dealing with with those messages.
Men get it too, I promise.
Yeah, they're all they want all of them. How did you find like the bent press and like these the odd lifts? Do you remember, or do you just?
I actually have, when I was like in my mid-20s, I was a
Mhm.
completely different person in my mid-20s where I wasn't
Yeah,
doing like kettlebell stuff. But
yeah.
I do have like a video from 2016 of me doing like a 65-pound barbell bent press, which was a big
Mhm.
deal for me back then.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
pretty.
looked like shit. So I still go back to that and reference that. But man, I don't think it was YouTube. I forget where I found, I might have been like T Nation or something like
Mhm.
this one core movement you're not doing. And they started going into the history of it, started talking about Arthur Saxon,
Mhm.
his still unbeaten world records. And I don't like, I've never enjoyed like the regular, like, well, maybe because I just suck at them anyway, but like benching never did it for me.
Yeah.
Uh, Squats, deadlift, it just doesn't do much for me. And that
Mhm.
looked different enough to catch my attention. I might have some like neurodivergence going on because I can't stay focused. But
Yeah.
the bent press is something I had never seen before, and it was so fascinating. And I already had the prerequisite mobility to
Mhm.
attempt something like this, and I really latched onto it. And I learned it in like maybe 6 months later. I was already doing the 56 kilo belt, so I was like, this is something I can really hammer. Now um, I have not always been careful with it because when you get cocky, you get a little overconfident. You don't always take all those steps, and I've really learned my lesson on that a lot because it's a safe lift, but
Mhm.
it's safe like driving your car is safe. When you drive
Yeah.
your car, you have to keep your eyes on the road. Don't be drunk. Wear your seatbelt. There's still like a list you have to go through to stay safe. And sometimes I've
Mhm.
just gotten careless. It might have been when I was like demonstrating it using a lighter weight, and it can really mess you up. So I'm still kind of recovering from a lot of that. So
Yeah.
that's partially the reason for my sabbatical. But um, that the bent press was the first time I felt like, even for a moment of time, that I could be the best at something for
Mhm.
just a little bit. And I used to be one of those guys where I was not interested in looking big or looking jacked. I was skinny. I was like 160 pounds, and I was like, hey, I can bent press over my body weight, and I'm going to keep on doing this. And that was a big, uh, time of just me finding joy in lifting, and I still do, and just conveying that kind of joy to people who want to learn it. So um, yeah, it's still a big. I mean, not right now. I'll be
I
back at
mean,
bench pressing by Belfast.
it goes in cycles, you know?
Mm.
You have to like listen to your body and like what it can do, cuz like for me, like I love doing sport too, and I cannot train sport in like hard like the way that I like for a comp. Like I can't prep for a comp right now and also do heavy bench pressing. I mean, I probably couldn't right this second because I'm doing relatively light bench pressing, but whatever. But like I can't do you can't do it all of the time. um you have to you kind of like, especially I'm like, in my 30s now, so like I gotta pick and choose my battles. I can't train like hard on literally everything. And also like the bent press specifically is like such a taxing lift. Like just like for your system, it's a taxing lift, especially when we get to those heavy weights, which is the weights that we like to play with. Um, and doing that taxing like really taxing lift, and then also like hitting the volume of sport was breaking my body.
Yeah,
I was trying to do that and like long cycle or jerks, and I was like, I am so tired. Like I was just tired, like all of the time. I was like, I was like sore. like, all, the things. So when you start to hit that wall of fatigue, and it's like, this is not like regular sore fatigue. This is, I am doing too much and I have to take a step back and make some choices sort of fatigue. and I think and I love lifting heavy, and I'm going to obviously continue to lift heavy. But when I lift heavy, I have to make the choice. Okay, if I'm going to lift heavy, I'm not also doing 8 minutes of jerks or long cycle or snatch, because that will ruin my week, my month, depending on the weights.
You have a budget. You have a budget that your body can spend, and if you go into debt, then the bill always comes due. You don't want those goons coming after you, because it's gonna cost you a lot more, and that goes for more than just lifting. So staying within your budget. There's been a few instances. So I bent pressed 180 pounds right when COVID started, and that was about 10 or 15 pounds over my body weight at that point. And there's been a few times in my life where I've been sore from like one event for like a week. So I still play chess. I love chess, but I used to be a competitive chess player when I was a kid, and those are still the only trophies I've ever won. And when you played a really intense chess match, you have to go to bed because you are so exhausted. Your brain is so worn out. So like when I did my PR bench press, 82 kilo, I did that one lift, celebrated, and I like went right to bed, and I couldn't lift heavy for a whole week. When I attempted Sinister last September, and I got within a hair's breadth. I failed on the 8th get up, which when you get that close, you never want to try it again. So I failed on the 8th get up, and I should have saved the video. I should have put it on YouTube just to laugh at it. But I laid on the floor with the camera running for, I think, 25 minutes because I couldn't stand up. And I overspent. I went over my budget as far as energy. There was a point, maybe rep 60 or 70 in my swings where I already knew. And there's a part of us as athletes where you tell yourself, if you have that thought, then it's going to manifest itself as reality. Like, oh, I'm not going to do it. All right, I guess we're not going to do it. And then you override that and you push through anyway. And then you start thinking, oh, did I make a mistake? And in that case, I made a mistake because I probably could have used an ambulance that day. So that being said, never doing Sinister again. I will maybe when I'm feeling good, I might be training for the 200-pound bench press, but that's about it. So right now, I just want to be happy. I want to be pain-free. I want to be strong, and I do want to look good. But I'm not going for any more world records. I'm sure there are 1 or 2 unofficial world records I have, but I just never did the stuff needed for that. But that's what I'm trying to do now. Just trying to educate people and stay happy and healthy.
When you do those big lifts, like a Sinister or like a big bench press, is there like a specific like deload period? Like, how do you prep for that, like physically? Or did you prep for it? Maybe you didn't, and that's part of the problem why we're here now. But like, is there like anything you do to get ready for those sorts of lifts?
Now when I was talking to Michael, I kind of said, like, I write specific plans and programs for other people. For me, again, my brain's wiring is funny. I don't do well with super strict programs. I do well with loose guidelines and rules. So like general rules. So like I worked my way up, obviously, to maybe, so if we're talking about like my PR bench press, I worked my way up to like 171 because that's just the number that fit on the bar at that time. I took a week off of anything heavy, and then one day I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna put some hip hop on, and I feel good, and that was it. Now, In the moment, I call it blacking out. Now, I don't remember much from the lift. I remember the dumbbell being on the floor, and then I remember it being on the floor again after I did it. I don't remember lifting that weight at all. I'm glad I recorded it, but I don't remember lifting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like getting there, I mean, I'm a lot smarter now as far as fueling myself, resting,
Mhm.
and getting into a proper headspace. When I was younger, there was a lot more maybe anger in lifting, whereas now it has to be uh, more calculated if you don't want
Mhm.
to mess yourself up. And that's where FRS comes into, because
Yeah.
you can build yourself up and safeguard yourself so that you can go hard and that your
Yeah.
connective tissues are ready to bear the load of aggressive lifting. So that's why I'm preaching what I'm preaching now, is
Mhm.
because this stuff actually is really good.
Yeah.
Kettlebells are awesome. I obviously built a business around kettlebells, but
Yeah.
kettlebells are not everything. You need other things too. And that's really where the connective tissue work comes into play. So what I'm trying to do right now is figure out a way to market this so people get into it and
Yeah.
they can feel and see the results for themselves. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's great. It's so like working up to those like big lifts is such like an interesting like thing, and you have to like know because on the day of, like, even if you planned everything, maybe you didn't sleep super great the night before, so like it might not go to plan, so you have to, even if you are doing a program and you are like following it strictly, you still have to be flexible within that. Like when I was working up towards it, I had, which I referenced several times in this podcast, my neighbor's fucking dogs were barking from about 12 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning every single night. And I was not sleeping. So like I had to like extend my program out a couple weeks while I one got them to put their fucking dogs inside at night. And like then while I spent like another week like recovering from not sleeping for a month because I just wasn't able to, and I wasn't a functional human being before I could even, like, I was supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, and then I had to reschedule and reset my brain and get myself back in it so I could do it, because it wasn't going to happen when I was sleeping 3 hours a night getting up,
Exactly.
recording so I could send it to housing and be like, look what I'm listening to all night. Like it wasn't gonna be successful. So you still have to, like, even if you have all your plans, everything can still go to shit. So being
Right.
flexible within those plans is so important. And I love, I know you said you like flexibility. I like having like a mostly structured thing. So like right now I'm doing like 3 days a week of not strict bent pressing, but like I know what I'm doing for bent pressing on those days. Um, it's a conjugate style programming, so it's, I'm doing like a max effort day or whatever, and like, I have all those. But on my off days, I have a lot of flexibility within those days. So I have like a day where I'm doing a sport thing, I have a day where I'm doing like general strength, boring stuff that nobody cares about, and then I have a day where I can fuck around and do juggling, which I think is how I stay so consistent. Is I do give myself time to have fun and like not have everything structured. Or like at the end of a workout, I try to give myself time to do flows and complexes, which I know everyone's like has feelings about. But for me, that's what makes it like, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do all this boring squats. I don't like squats. I don't like I don't like double presses. I don't like, it's not fun for me. But if I do that at the end, I can do some lateral swings and snatches and windmills and have some fun. And it keeps the it keeps the lights on for me. It
Right.
keeps me in it. And I think that's most important. Like I have like clients who their programs are pretty boring. Like they're doing the same things over and over again, but we throw in 5 minutes of fun, or we're like, hey, just take 5 minutes to do whatever the heck you want. Like,
Yeah.
do something. Or we have days where we're just doing complexes, so they're having fun within their training. And I think that's super valuable, because people tend to go one way or the other. they're like, you can have all the fun doing training and that's all you'll do. And then some people are like, you have to be consistent and do these things, and that's all you can do. And you can do both.
Yeah.
You can
It's
do it
too,
all.
I mean, yeah, it's too boring. You'll lose interest for sure. I know I was like that because
Yeah.
I wanted to do Beast Tamer.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole and I we were training together, kettlebell clean, like
Yeah.
early 2020 or early 2022. I think I still want to do it eventually, but
Mm-hmm.
I was on such a regimented program for Beast Tamer that I just got sick of it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It sounds cool, but I just I don't care about the piece of paper anymore. So what I did instead, because it's like a beast press, beast pistol squat, beast pull up. I've done all those except for the pull up. I'm close to the pull up. I
And
want
that's
to
all that,
do
like, with like the 56 kilo, correct? Just for
it's
the
the full, it's
folks
the
at home.
40. Yeah, it's the
40. Okay.
48. So what I started thinking about instead is, all right, instead of like staying on this program and potentially injuring myself because I'm so gung ho and I want this now, is let me just immerse myself and let me come to know these lifts really well and get myself
Mm-hmm.
acquainted with them and just pay attention to them when the time comes. And that approach has worked way, way better, because everything's gone up when I've really spaced out and took my time with it. It's almost like because I used to study French,
Mm-hmm.
because I was talking to a girl who was from Morocco and I wanted to visit her, and I was using Duolingo, and it's all like canned conversations. So I was like
Mm-hmm.
pushing it every day, like j'ai vu, like I've forgotten it all by now. It's like algebra versus going to Morocco and just living there and learning it as you go. Because it's going to be way more natural and way more your style if you just immerse yourself. So I did that same approach for like lifting heavy, is let's take the timeline off this. This way it's safer. You can have a little bit of fun with it and just get to know this stuff and make it your own. Because I'll tell people that as well, is yes, there are rules to the lifts we do, but it's almost like a fingerprint. Everyone's got similar looking fingers, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone's fingerprint's a little bit different. And you have to find the one that identifies you.
Yeah.
And I'll teach that with bent press, and I'll
Yeah.
teach it
Bench
with
press, I think has like such a specific, like, it's so individual. I think, like, I don't think our bench press is the same, or like, mine, or like Peter Curtis, and like, I think because there's so many prerequisites to do a bench press well, and we're all going to have different mobility and strength levels and things. The way that you're going to adapt to that load and being under that load in very weird positions, objectively very weird positions, is going to look different, and that's okay. Like, that's totally fine. Honestly, it's good. Like, I shouldn't be bench pressing the same way that you are. You're a bigger and stronger dude than I am. Like, it would be weird if it looked identical.
Yeah, that's indicative of experience and maturity in coaching, is
Mm-hmm.
knowing that. I mean, I've said before that the bent press is almost like the Wild West of lifting, in that, I mean, as long as you've got the ideas and you're not going to hurt yourself, I mean, figure it out. Use different tools, play around with different modalities, and as long as you've got your hover and you got that weight overhead at the end, then I mean that's a bent press. So
That's it.
no,
Stand up.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of exceptions. If someone's giving you like a shitty, like squatty side press, like
I know
no,
yeah, that's
yeah,
not a bet press, but like but like if like yeah. I mean, like my first bent press is like I think I posted it this week. It's like I have like one video from like 2017, like my first time trying it, and it's just down.
yeah, yeah,
It's like that's kind of, I mean, you were learning, and that's fine if you're learning it too. It's not perfect. You shouldn't expect uh to be good at a thing on your first tries.
so,
I think that's also the thing with like social media and Instagram is people see me doing, or you like coaches doing the things that we're doing now, and it's like, man, I've been doing this for years. Like I have so many reps under my belt. Like I've been doing this consistently for a really long time. Yours is not going to look like mine. like we're going to have a
so,
different, it's going to take time to make it look and feel right. Which is the least exciting coaching advice I can ever give anyone. It's like, yeah, you have all the pieces. Now you just got to do reps. And
yep,
like, I'm sorry, like now we just have to do it over and over again and it'll smooth out.
that's it. There's no
Yeah,
magic way. You just got to put the time in.
no,
That's it.
it's not
So
exciting.
yeah. So you're when are you getting to Atlanta next month?
I am gonna be there Friday to Monday.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking the same
Um,
thing. I'm just gonna drive up because it's like 5 hours away from me.
yeah, oh, nice. I'm flying. I'm flying and I'm staying at some hotel, not the one that is part of it.
Yeah.
Staying at some hotel. And gonna just, I don't know. I'm probably gonna be exhausted because this is gonna be so much human interaction.
I know. It's yeah. I
I was
get
like,
that.
I think I'm just gonna be a vegetable by the end of the day because
Yeah.
I I spend most of my day in weeks alone. So
Me too.
it's like,
Me too.
so I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be like such a special kind of exhausted at the end of this.
Mhm.
I'm like excited; it'll totally be worth it. Like I'm not like not complaining, but I'm gonna be. I just know that this is gonna be uh so much human interaction when this is mostly how I do my human interaction is through the internet, which afterwards when I finish this I can go lay on the couch or veg out however I need to. But if I'm in a big old facility with 100 something people, it's gonna be a little bit different.
I believe in you. We'll both
Yeah,
pull through this.
oh yeah, that'll be cool. I'll have lots of adrenaline too because it'll be really exciting meeting everyone and talking to
Absolutely.
people, and I'm excited. I think it's gonna be so much fun. I'm really excited that I got like invited to be involved in it. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not one of the like coaches. There's lots of like very like big names going. I'm like, oh, and me? All
Yeah.
right, cool. Thanks.
Exactly. Same. Same.
I was like, oh, they're like people going to this
I know,
event.
right? Yeah.
And this and then it's just like me and I'm like in my little closet with my meme flags. Everyone's like in their
Yeah.
minimalist shit, and I'm like, I have a SpongeBob and Edward Cullen on my on my wall.
Perfect. It's
Yeah, it's
absolutely
great.
perfect.
I know my brand.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get there Friday as well, and I guess we'll meet up at the venue, and I'm sure we're all gonna be recording stuff, and we'll
Oh
figure out
yeah,
something to we can do a bottoms up bench press or something. So be cool.
yeah, we'll do something. It'll be great. I'm
Yeah,
very excited. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. I
yeah,
like keep going. I alternate between like being so excited to go and then also like, oh my god, I'm going to this big event. Like I'm going to meet literally I know no one in person, so I'm going to meet entirely everyone.
everyone's really chill.
I
So
think though I get to meet some of my clients in person, which will be exciting because I have a few clients who are
oh,
like
cool.
kind of close to the area, which is fun because I've been
Okay.
working with them for a few years. So it's like, oh, I get to like meet you in the real life. How exciting
Right.
is that? We've been talking every week for 2.5 years.
Right.
Now I get to see you.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
shorter than I thought you were going to be.
probably. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of that. I'm not.
But
I'm like 5'6". I'm like regular height, probably. I don't know.
yeah, turns out everyone's just a person. So
We're just people.
that's
Do
it.
you have any, like, how do people work with you? Like, how do you have, like, I know you have a mobility program
Hmm.
coming out or out? Is it out?
Yeah. So the way my membership is working is I'm just posting a new assignment every day. And
Mm-hmm.
I've set it up through Sambal, and you just follow the link that I post.
Mm-hmm.
I spam it. It's in my bio. You
It'll be in
sign up.
the show notes.
Yeah, right. And the way I'm doing is every weekday I just post a new assignment, and I'm updating the library. Right now, I'm updating it every day. I'm always
Mhm.
recording new tutorials, and I just want people to kind of latch on to the way it kind of flows. So
Mhm.
it's us building real strength through mobility. So this is all stuff that kind of follows the internal strength model. So as the weeks go on, it's going to be more specified towards certain movements. The
Mhm.
whole idea behind like what I'm promoting and what FRS and the internal strength model really is all about is we want to cultivate a strong internal environment. So
Mhm.
we my focus right now and the human body really it's really not about like doing lifts. So like if you want to do a bench press, it's not like your body came with a manual and the bench press is a thing. It's like,
Mhm.
no, your body knows how to move your limbs and your bones and your tissues. Let's make those really strong so that you can do anything you really ask of your body. So if we're doing, really heavy banded internal external rotations, if we're doing pails and rails, like the tissue strengthening stuff for your hips so you can hinge, we already have all those pieces now that are really strong. It's like having a Lego set. We have all the Lego pieces. Now we're just going to put the Legos together. So I want to put people together in a really strong way so that whatever they want to do, they can do it strong and
Mhm.
pain free. Um, so we're just cultivating a really strong internal environment. That's the whole point of this thing. And my whole purpose in my career now is to marry the two worlds of hardstyle or just kettlebell in general and this joint and tissue training stuff so that people can see the connection and link them with my help. So that's really
Yeah.
what because I see that there is a need for that. And I felt the benefits of this type of training and I want to share it. And I want people to be able to fill in the gaps and be able to train the way they want to train and not get hurt. So that's the whole reason I'm doing this thing. And as time goes on, it's going to get more specific. Okay, you want to do a really strong vertical push. Here's how we're going to prime it. Here's how we
Yeah.
train our internal environment so that you can perform this lift safely. Um, and it's going to be like that going forward. So 5 workouts a week. I got a few people jumping on. It's been awesome and
Mhm.
motivating. And it's a month-to-month thing. I'm keeping it $30. I'm trying to jam as much educational content into this as possible. I mean, you know how it goes with getting certifications and education. It's thousands of dollars. It's hundreds of hours. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to package up all this esoteric information into something that's digestible and graspable by just anyone. And
Yeah.
it's repackaging and repurposing this stuff for kettlebell.
How
So that
long do each of the sessions take with your program?
15 or 20 minutes. So
Awesome. Super
this is
doable.
this is meant to be layered in to what you're already doing. So like if you were
Mhm.
to start doing it, you do your 10-point cars, you do the days movements, whether it's shoulders or hips or your spine, and then you go
Mhm.
about doing your lifts, and it's almost immediate. when people do this stuff, they see, wow, I'm really primed right now. I feel really good. My tissues are just fully gassed up. And I mean, it can be a standalone program if that's what someone wants to do. You'll get great results from it that way too, but it's meant to be uh, done with other programs with no detrimental effects. It's not going to be overtraining, and I'm trying to make it the best thing possible.
That's great. That sounds awesome.
Thanks.
Sounds super helpful. That's cool. I was looking at it, I was like, well, maybe I'll buy it, Peters. I mean, I'm always looking for more mobility things because with that pressing, like you definitely need to have good mobility for that.
Right.
And with sport and long cycle and snatching, like those are
Right.
very weird and specific positions for your body to be in. And I guess most of the lifting I do is weird and specific positions. I don't do any normal shit. So like, like getting, so you have to get your body ready for those things, and get them, in the right positions and prime them. Is there anything else, any other ways people can work with you, or?
I mean, I'm a personal trainer. I have a brick and mortar. If you're in Florida on the East Coast, you can come and see me. I'm in Port Orange in the Daytona area, but I also do custom programming. I do one-on-one video training. I do it all. So.
You have to. We don't have a choice.
Right. Yeah, especially in the slower season right now. It's like, you tell me what you need, and I am in the service industry.
Do it.
That's right. I'm in the service industry, so I will serve as best I can. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to think a pretty approachable person. So if you are curious about anything you heard today on the podcast, just reach out. Icebox_kettlebell, Peter Nieman, and I will be able to help you.
Yeah, super, super nice. This is, I think, the second time we've done like a podcast type chat, and super easy to talk to, super lovely. Right. So reach out. There's no reason not to. Well, I think that's it. We'll make sure we we'll link all of the things we've talked about, your program, all your socials, and all of the things. If you're not following Peter, you absolutely should be. He's wonderful, and he puts great content out. And obviously we think about it a whole lot, the content that we're putting out. And yeah, I'll have all this stuff linked, and I think that's all I've got for today. I'll see you in a few weeks. So
yeah, let's do it. I'm sure I'll talk to you before that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And that'll be our episode, and I'll talk to you later. That was my episode with Peter. He is so great, and you should definitely be following him if you aren't already. Links to his Instagram at icebox_kettlebell, his gym site, and his mobility program are in the show notes, along with a link to tickets to Belfast. I really, really hope to see y'all there, and I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. That's all for this week, and I will see y'all next time.